It's your baby mama's favorite podcast. Yeah. Shall we football? Flyer than a foosball, going harder than the balls. Inside a pool hall, AJ, Colt, Ryan on some fantasy business. Living in that dream like they own their own team, man. They tell you how to win, but probably gon' lose if you get last place in the draft cause you snooze. It's really all luck. If your QB gets hurt, then you fucked. Yeah, you're fucked. Now you own your buddy's money, plus your girlfriend hates you cause you can't see her on Sundays. Long days, long nights, figuring out your team. Still the next day you're listening to these idiots.
All right. Hello and good football to all. This is the Shall We Football podcast powered by Razzball. I'm Ryan, my co-host AJ and Colt. Welcome back, Coulter, from the great beyond. He wasn't dead. He was just at Canton for a while.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. Welcome
Yep.
back, Colt. Coming
Thanks,
up,
guys.
potentially hostile and definitely superfluous NFC Division wildcard and playoff seeding predictions. We will present the Mac Oracle Award for episode MVP, named for Mac Jones's middle name. Follow us on the artist formerly known as Twitter at SWF_podcast. That's at SWF_podcast. Watch us on Razzball Fantasy YouTube. Go to razzball.com to not suck at any fantasy sports. No mores or don't. We're going to have fun either way. Gentlemen, shall we football?
Let's do that. Let's do
All
Get
that.
in there.
Let's
Colt,
do that.
you missed out on the AFC division predictions, but you do have them with you. Can you please run through your East, West, North, and South divisions, not necessarily in that order?
Okay. I'll start with the AFC East. That's what I have listed first. I was bold and I put Miami at 1. Clearly, this is contingent on Tua staying healthy, but it is a bold take. Buffalo at 2, Jets at 3, Patriots at 4.
Isn't White Mike the backup there?
White Mike is the backup there. We also have 3 different AFC East division winners
do.
on this podcast.
Great.
That's exciting.
Great. And
Go on,
then
Colt.
each AFC.
Yep.
AFC North, 1 Cincinnati, 2 Cleveland, 3 Baltimore, 4 Pittsburgh.
Okay.
AFC.
And
Are you new here, Mr. Snowdy?
AFC, no, sir. Just making sure that we're not going through. I'm looking at the numbered
Colt
points.
gets passes. For hiccups.
AFC South, I put Jacksonville at 1, Tennessee at 2, Indianapolis at 3, Houston at 4. For
Okay.
the AFC West, I put Kansas City 1, Chargers
No
at
way.
2. Yes, way. 3, I put Denver at 4, Las Vegas.
all right. What are your wild cards?
Wild cards for the AFC would be Baltimore, Denver, and Buffalo.
Baltimore,
Whoa.
Denver, Buffalo.
Okay, so Colt, let me get this straight. You have the Jets and the Bills missing the playoffs.
I have Miami winning the division
No,
outright. and
he's got Buffalo as a wild card.
Okay, my
Buffalo's a
bad.
wild card. Yeah.
Okay, give me your seeding 1 through 7.
AFC seeding 1 through 7. First, Kansas City. Second, Cincinnati. Third, Jacksonville. Fourth, Miami. Fifth, Buffalo. Sixth, Denver. Seventh, Baltimore.
Wow. Damn, son.
Yeah, I really
That
wanted to mix it
Denver
up.
pick is fucking bold.
It is spicy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sean Payton, man. I'm a believer in Payton.
Good for you, man. Ryan and I were,
Not so much.
yeah, well, I mean, no, we weren't on the Denver bandwagon, but we were very vanilla.
We were very vanilla. I
Colt-
think we both
Colt's
had the
picks-
Chargers as wild cards, correct?
Yeah, we did.
AJ had the Jets winning the East and the Bills as a wild card. I had it flip flopped. The Bills winning and the Jets in at 5.
Okay.
AJ, have you determined whether or not you're going to keep the Ravens behind the Browns?
I'm
gave
gonna
you a
keep
mixed
it
race.
as is.
So
Keeping
you've
it
got
as is.
in your North division, you've got the Bengals, Browns, Ravens, and Steelers, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is
Maybe I'm
beautiful.
gonna regret
Boy,
it. Maybe I'm not. But I will tell you this: in the end, I can blame the predictor app if it doesn't.
That's
go
true.
well.
That's true. You have no culpability whatsoever.
Never have. Never have.
Don't know if you guys watched the preseason game last night. The Ravens lost their first preseason game since Lamar Jackson was a freshman at Louisville
Wow. By 1 point.
by
Dude.
1 point.
I watched some highlights and I looked at the stat line in the box.
Sam
score.
Howell looked good.
He looked good though, from to the eye to the metrics.
Yeah, passed the eye test. I like.
He can
I
sling
like
it, man.
Yeah, he's a natural throw of the football. Big
Yep.
fan. All right, well, let's get to the NFC East. Any more news and notes to share? Do we care about news and notes? We're like 14 days from football.
Yeah, Ryan, as far as news and
21
notes
days
are
from football.
concerned, if you didn't bring something, then we have nothing to talk about.
Perfect. I had some thoughts earlier in the day, but then I took a nap and forgot them. So let's move on to the NFC. We'll start in the East because that's the way we do things here. NFC East, Coulter will give you the floor in your glorious return.
Sounds good. For the NFC East, I have Philadelphia at 1, Dallas at 2, the Giants at 3, and our beloved Red Hogs at 4.
AJ?
I've got, and I'm going to add the records because I did the, I used the predictor app. So I've got the Eagles at 14-3, the Cowboys at 12-5, the Giants at 5-12, and the Washington Red Hogs at 3-14.
You have the Giants at 5-12 the year after making the playoffs.
Wow. Yeah.
I do.
Ooh.
I do. Well, on my rankings, they were 22nd.
True.
So I think this is.
I had them down there
proud
too. I had them
accordingly.
19th or 20th. They were down.
This is another one that I'm questioning after the fact, like
Sure.
where I put, not just where I put them in the rankings, and that would have changed the record via the way I used the predictor. So yeah, this is like the Titans in the AFC that we talked about last week. I had
Yeah.
the Titans at 6-11. That is so variable, and frankly, I'm not confident in that. But again, I have no culpability. So
Great way to work around things. I've also got Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and our beloved Red Hogs. I very, very much pondered putting Washington ahead of New York in this exercise.
Thought about it too.
Very much so. And then I remember that our beloved Red Hogs are probably going to start multiple rookies in the secondary, and I'm not super confident in how that's going to go. I also believe Brian Dable is a hell of a football coach and is going to win more than 5 games. Can we play ceiling floor with the Giants here before we move on?
yeah, I want that.
Coulter, what do you think ceiling and floor is with Brian Dable's New York Giants?
I don't think that winning the division outright from Dallas or Philly is on the table. We saw great strides in Daniel Jones protecting the ball last year, his rushing upside and continuity with receivers. And they've added Jalen Hyatt. They've added Sterling Shepard, or he's healthy. Sorry. They've added Paris Campbell. Darren Waller is a big addition for that team. I think he is going to be force-fed targets early and often, as we witnessed this last week in preseason. I just don't think defensively they can hang. Not even close to the Washington defensive line. They can't hang with Micah Parsons. I think this is kind of the ceiling for them to maybe sneak in as a wild card team in this division with Dallas and Philly healthy and playing like we saw them last year. A lot changes year over year, but I mean personnel with what we know going into this year. I think that's the ceiling, is maybe sneaking in as a wild card, winning a home game against Dallas at MetLife, or the floor being they could be 5-12 and just be abysmal and squander Saquon Barkley. And I don't see the floor falling through like that with Dayball in charge.
I cannot fathom the Eagles and Dallas being unseated. That would be
I can't either.
An all-time surprise. Not to, I mean, this is to say nothing about how the Giants do, but just them not being a 1 or 2 in the division would be shocking. Whether it was the Giants or the Red Hogs,
Right. Yeah.
That would
can't get
contribute to
there.
how shocking it is. But the just them not being 1 and 2 would be insane.
I
Yeah.
sputtered out a
Yeah,
little bit.
right. I was stalling
I
talking about
appreciate that.
the difference between how crazy it would be if the Eagles and Cowboys didn't finish 1 and 2
Yeah,
versus how the Giants and Red Hogs would finish 3 and 4, i.e., just sort of repeating the same thing over and over again.
Right. So what did Colt fall on win total wise for ceiling, and what did you fall on win total wise ceiling floor for the Giants?
I forgot to ask.
Perfect. I think the Giants are probably a 9-win ceiling team.
Yeah.
Ryan?
I was thinking 10-7 to be the most generous.
Yeah. AJ in the back.
I have a joke. I know this thing is a fan, but it's drying my contacts out, so I'm going to turn it down.
The fan on your computer, or the ceiling
No.
fan? Okay.
Oh God, I don't know which one does lights and which one does fans.
We're about to find
figure
out.
Oh shit!
There went lights.
Okay, everybody, I think calm down.
Make a mental note of that, AJ. Whichever one you pull.
I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, these pants tend to show a little more crotch than I would like. You guys didn't catch anything, did you?
Didn't see your mushroom tip this time.
Awful. Just an awful thing to say. I want to say for the listening audience that I did just have to stand up on camera. And I was hoping that my areas weren't outlined too much.
I didn't think to look, so I
I
think
didn't either.
now people are going to be rewinding.
Wait, great.
on YouTube
Thanks for having my lower back, gentlemen.
Yeah, always and forever we have your lower back.
Yes.
Do we see any way that this division gets shaken around? I don't really.
No.
If Hurts.
No,
tears
you
an
asked the most
ACL,
important question. Yeah, injuries. I think you asked the most important question. What is the ceiling and floor of the Giants? I think everything else is pretty safe.
Yeah.
The only wild card would literally be the Giants being a wild card. That's
the thing is, like, do we think that they can claw their way up into wild card contention? I don't.
I feel like there is a cosmic doppelganger effect. Like twins separated at birth between the Titans and the Giants, where they have really good coaches and decent talent. And I think what I'm saying is I think whatever the Giants do is going to cosmically affect what the Titans do and vice versa. And I feel like, listen, if these two teams have very similar records at the end of the season, we're in the matrix. We're in the goddamn matrix.
I like that.
Then
AJ,
time has folded on itself. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said something last week about the divisions in football, not necessarily meaning it's a good division, just that it's going to be highly competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the NFC North. Let's start with AJ this time. In your most competitive division.
Yeah. You know what? This one and actually the next one we talk about in terms of competition, not competence, but competition. I like where your head's at. I've got the Detroit Lions at 10-7, winning the division. The Minnesota Vikings at 9-8. The Green Bay Packers at 6-11, and the Chicago Bears at 6-11.
Talk dirty to me.
Yeah, how about that? The Packers are so volatile in the prediction. like imagining where they'll be is going to be so, like, the difference is going to be so wide between I thought we fancy ourselves analysts, right?
Sure.
Is that what we are?
We are analysts. Yes.
Professional idiots.
Yes. Analopists. I like that, AJ.
That
Cole.
was a Arrested Development reference. Anal rapist, anal rapist, anal rapist.
Yeah. That's sort of like a full-on rapist instead of philanthropist, which I'm realizing saying that pretty deadpan is unsettling. It is a line from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, said by the great Charlie Day as Charlie Kelly. My favorite episode, season 5, episode 6, the waitress is getting married.
Season 5, episode 6. Notice.
Beautiful stuff.
Notice.
God, I'm going to get fact checked, and I really hope that I nailed that one. Anyway, moving on.
Coulter, your NFC North division, please.
I'm jotting that episode down, AJ. Back to my North.
Okay.
I want to see it.
I love that someone's taking a recommendation that I've made. That is uncommon in my life.
Absolutely. So for the NFC North, I have Detroit coming in at number 1 with a record of 11-6. Minnesota at 2, record of 9-7. Green Bay 3, 7-9. Chicago at 4, going 6-10.
Colt, my man, Colt has been so busy. You did not have to scrounge together these records, my man.
But we also play 17 games.
Oh, I missed the math as well.
Yeah, I screwed the math up on those. My bad. Goodness
Colt,
gracious.
you know what? Those little numbers next to the teams that you wrote down, don't even worry about those. Especially the ones with a dash in the middle. Don't even worry about them.
Gotcha. I tried really hard, guys. Time has been fleeting, and I'm not so good at the math on the
You're a busy
part of that
man,
division.
Coltus.
You're very busy, and you've recently been offered a job and lots of money, and your life is trending upward, and that's what's most important.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not to say he wasn't already trending upward. Colt is a very hardworking and successful chef.
He is.
and a beautiful boy.
Yes.
Thank you.
In a
AJ.
committed
Thank you.
relationship. So sweet Jesus. Stop with the
Yeah,
comments, you know?
I will refrain from trying to go to ranks, fellas, based on my lack of math. Detroit, I was all over them last year, and I think I pegged them. I think I pegged their record from last year too. I'm not trying to
You did peg
brag.
them. You pegged
Not
them
trying
for
to
sure.
to
Oh,
brag.
no.
I was a believer last year. I'm even more of a believer this year. What Ben Johnson's doing up there, the line that they've built. Now, I'm a little down on the receiving core lately with Jameson Williams having a hamstring injury on top of a 6-game suspension. I think the questions are starting to circulate. Is he a bust? At what point do we call him a bust? I'm not
Whoa,
there
I'm
He
yet.
not
hasn't
there
played
yet.
yet. So
He hasn't even played yet.
I know. I've heard some rumblings on the Twitter sphere, on the X sphere, of
I
people
refuse.
wanting to. Yeah, I can't. I refuse. Jameson Williams, we haven't seen enough. It's just.
Are
I
you
think
refusing to call it X or Jameson Williams?
I'm refusing to call it X and refusing to believe Jameson is a bust.
Ryan, what were you referring to?
Mine was the X comment.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay,
I
okay.
was hoping you were keeping on topic, but yeah. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's just my big takeaway. Was huge into what they were doing up there last year in the Motor City, and I'm back for it again this year. I think,
Colt, you absolutely called that last year. You were hot on the tail of those Lions.
Yeah.
I'm
I think. Go ahead.
I'm going to do a thing in the North, boys.
Do it.
Do a thing, and whoever's breathing heavily, please, no more of that. Breathe nice and light and airy. Whoever. Okay, just go. All right.
I do have the Lions winning the division. I think the
Oof.
Packers are going to come in second in that division. And then the
Okay,
Vikings and
well.
the Bears. Because what if Jordan Love is good?
Yeah.
I didn't watch any preseason because I kind of refuse to believe
Yeah.
it exists, kind of.
Yeah.
But I did happen to catch a headline and see Jordan Love's latest stat line, and it was
like, what if he's good?
well, I
If he's good, they can compete for this division.
it is so hard to predict with Jordan Love. He's in a position that we haven't seen in a while, where a dude just sits patiently behind a curmudgeon-y old cradle robber.
At
What,
some
he
point, you got
dates
to think.
down. He dates young. That's all I'm saying.
At some
He's
point,
no,
I think
he's
you
no
gotta
Leo
think,
DiCaprio.
Leo
when does
Leo DiCaprio has been the king of cradle robbing for some time. Well, that's not true. There are tons of old fellers that are not celebrities but have lots of dinero who've been married many
Yeah.
times to the. You know what? I'm done with this line of thinking, and Colt wants to talk. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say you've got to think that the Packers' privilege runs out at some point because they have had 2 decades of quarterback brilliance with Favre and Rodgers. I mean, can this magic continue?
Yes, it can. It
I-
absolutely can.
I think it can too.
1,000% it can.
I'm just throwing out the notion that what if it doesn't?
What if it doesn't?
Yeah,
I
what if
like
they're
the,
not
I like
fun?
the
thing.
cut of the jib. I like the cut
Yeah.
of the Jordan jib.
That's where we're at right now, though. Too is we have to do ceiling floor for the Packers because they are one of them. The Browns, like they're one of those teams where the Broncos maybe where their floor and their ceiling, that dispersion is so wide.
Yeah, wide
This
range
is
outcomes.
it's pretty wild that I think, although I think the Packers are most deserving of what amounts to our divisional floor ceiling candidate, but you could kind of do that for the Vikings and the Bears. I don't think so much the Lions because
I think they're going to be good.
I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be improved. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I
Yep.
kind of think that's sort of it. I think they're going to be competitive in the playoffs. I don't
think
imagine them
they
going
may
far.
make it to the division to the conference title game. They have a
That
chance
is
to make it to the
wild.
conference title game.
Wow.
That's a wild thing that your mouth just said.
Looking at their schedule, I can see 9 pretty winnable games that jump out at me for the Packers. Potentially 10 if they take one at home from Minnesota.
I think 6-11, where I have them, is easily
That's the
floor.
absolute floor.
Absolute
yeah.
floor.
Trapdoor.
Jordan Love is going to be erratic. That's what he was in college. That's what he's shown to be in flashes in the NFL. Like his highs are very high, and his turnover worthy play percentage is also very high. So I think that's just who he is, and you'll get some spurts of really, really good and some spurts of really, really what the fuck are you doing?
Okay, last thing I want to touch on is I want his thoughts on it doesn't have to be floor and ceiling of Justin Fields, but as Justin Fields goes, so go the Bears. So
Right.
and being a fantasy guy, Colt has looked into Justin Fields pretty substantially.
Absolutely. I
So
flipped him in a
where are
first
you at?
rounder not too long ago. For Fields, I mean, it boils down to the rushing upside as we saw last year. I mean, but the explosive playmaking ability, not everybody can do that, can break off a 60 to 68 yard touchdown run. Lamar Jackson is one of the only others, and this year as well, Anthony Richardson. Where I want to see Fields step up, I in fantasy and redraft, I have him comfortably in the top 10, top 7. I mean, there's a world where he could be top 3 or 5, depending on durability and rushing yardage and touchdowns, because he was on pace to break Lamar Jackson's season rushing record last year, but he missed a couple games with that shoulder injury. I want to see him progress as a passer, and I think we are going to see that with the addition of DJ Moore. Now, it's not simply, well, look at what Josh Allen did with Stephon Diggs. Look at what Philly did with AJ Brown. I mean, that we have that as a recency bias but we also have major schemes in offensive play calling and coaching that went hand in hand with those receiver quarterback marriages. So I still don't think the Bears are going to be really good this year, and I think they might be okay with that and giving their draft capital moving forward. I would put Fields comfortably in my top 7, top 8 quarterbacks for the year in Dynasty. He's right around that same area too. I've got Trevor, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson over him. But I'm certainly a believer in Fields, and I do believe he will take that next step as a passer with the addition of DJ Moore alone. And they wouldn't make that trade for DJ Moore if they weren't going to be a little more willing to throw the ball. Because I feel like last year they had the restrictor play on Fields hard.
I want to make a just an example. Like, AJ, where would you put, not fantasy related, where would you put Justin Fields in your quarterback rankings? Where did you?
Probably bottom 3rd, I would think.
And that's the difference. Like, he's going to be a great fantasy player, and the Bears are going to stink.
Yep, that's what I said.
That's what I was getting at. Is frankly, it wasn't a fantasy question, and I could see Ryan's eyes sort of glossing over as the life sort of drifted away.
Sorry,
from
it's been a while, guys.
No. I'm glad you did, because I hadn't asked a fantasy question thus far, and it needed to be done. So it was a happy accident.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that, like, yes, if you're going to go out there and play fantasy, and Justin Fields is going to be a great addition to your fantasy football roster, and you go and you watch the Bears play, and they're going to lose probably 11 or 12 games.
Yeah, I can get behind that very easily. Now, do you guys think Fields progresses as a passer? Where are you with that?
I hope so. I want him to be good. Even, in the first preseason game, the screen pass that DJ Moore took to the house, that was a really bad ball. He threw it low and away. It was a terrible ball placement on a 15-yard throw. It's not as easy a throw as everybody, like, it looks really close, and it's not as easy as you want it to be, but it was still a really, really bad ball placement that DJ Moore did something with.
Yeah, he made all of that play happen. You're right. That was a pretty bad ball.
So, like, I want him to be good, and we've seen him be good in college. We've seen his ball placement be elite in college. I don't know why it hasn't been thus far in the NFL.
I want to say this. I don't know anything about Justin Fields, the person. I have never heard a bad word said about him per se. So I think he's probably a fine human being.
Upstanding guy.
What I want to get at is that this guy was a 5-star prospect and considered by some services to be a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence, who is considered by most as the most generational thing, the next big thing after Andrew Luck.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next big until the next big thing of Texas's own Quinn Ewers. But anyway, Justin Fields was that dude. He was like pretty much unanimously number 2 overall in the country as far as high school recruits go.
Correct.
Period. Not just quarterback. It just so happened that he had the unfortunate circumstances being in the same class as Trevor Lawrence. Yep. That said, he went to Georgia first. If he would have stuck around there,
oh my God,
I like what he could have done instead of like Stetson Bennett early on. Like what he would have done coming in that year, that it was like a mixture of Jacob Eason and JT Daniels, Jake Fromm. Well, Jake Fromm did fine, but what they would have done instead of having Jake Fromm and having Justin Fields, well, Fromm beat him out in the first season.
Yeah.
If he would have stuck around like and bided his time, like it would have been stupid. He would have been like I think he would have been like a runaway. The talent there, he would have been a runaway Heisman winner.
Agreed.
Maybe not. And he got so close with Ohio State anyway. But he decided to transfer to Ohio State. And at that point, he gets immediate starting gig. So this guy has been the dude forever. This is his first time losing, experiencing being bad at football.
At anything, probably.
Probably at anything. This is the first time he's ever experienced extended losing.
Because he was a great baseball player in high school as well.
And on I don't remember what the high school program he came from was, but it was they weren't. I mean, they were a pretty big program. He
in
didn't
Georgia,
come. Yeah, in Georgia, which is competitive in all sports.
Yep.
Just because they're Georgia.
Yep.
And so this is the first time, as far as I know, he's really experienced this type of adversity. And not to say that he's not like tough enough to handle it. It's just that unfamiliar, and it can be like
Confidence killer.
Well, it can be like an irredeemable confidence killer, especially going to a team as dysfunctional as the Bears were.
Yep. Vikings. How do we feel about Minnesota?
What was the recent news on Jordan Addison? He's fine, right?
I think he's ultimately fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember what the injury was, or if there was.
I think he's going to have a nice year. I really do.
I think that dude is so ready.
Yep. He's a great route runner, great hands.
I think you're going to see a similar trajectory to Devontae Smith. Now, they're different players, but both guys are undersized. I mean, he's not as bad as Devontae Smith was, but he's still like, I think generously you could call him 190 at 6 foot.
I think he was running around at 185 at USC.
That's what I remember. But the guy just gets open, and that is the most important thing as a wide receiver. So
he separates and he catches with his hands, and
I just cannot get past the idea of a good offensive line, Kirk Cousins throwing to Justin Jefferson, and now a first-round wide receiver. Just that by itself is hard for me to get past as potentially being problematic for everyone.
But their defense could be so bad.
Yeah. They'll be in a bunch of shootouts.
Excited.
They got so fucking lucky last year, obviously.
Yeah, they had 9 or 10 one-score games that they won.
I didn't pick my nose. That was a scratch.
It was.
If you want. I feel like I need to say these things now that we're on video.
Yeah, you can pick it if you'd like.
Listening audience, it was a fucking scratch. I promise. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are we good on the North, boys?
Yeah, I'm good on North.
Okay, let's move on to the NFC South. In celebration of Chef Colt's recent major job interviews, I believe we do have a special guest joining us for the second week in a row. We bring him out for prediction season, Coulter. Last week's visit with Cousin Douglas was an all-timer. I believe you should probably go back and listen to last week's program.
Okay.
He was down there in his Pittsburgh potty, going and doing some stuff down there.
Love it.
Cousin Douglas is going to check your resume and interview credentials whenever he decides to join us. He's probably finishing up his Permane Brothers sandwich right now with fries
more
and
than likely
on it.
Yep.
I wish they'd toast the buns on toast the bread on those. If they toasted the bread, it would be so much better because the bread gets so soggy with all of the stuff. All right, there he is. Cousin Douglas back in the house.
Boys, let me put it this way. There was a struggle, which is why it took so long. He just wouldn't give it. He just wouldn't give it. He wouldn't give it up. Colt, congratulations, brother Coltus. You crushed your interviews like the dreams of Pittsburgh's last 3 generations of baseball fans. You's got the big offer, but what you's do now? This ain't gonna be you's last interview, and no time like a present to brush up on your fucking conversationable skills. Matter of fact, Cousin Douglas here mocked up some interview questions, and I's made a multiple choice because I's what the Spanish would call generoso. Let the role play begin. Greetings, Mr. Colt. I'm Cousin Doug, Buzzin' Stumpless, and I'll be inducing your interview today's. These questions will be personal, some would say illegal, but here at Todd's Wet Catch Emporium and Warehouse, we have a saying, at least it's multiple choice. First query, an icebreaker. Cultus, favorite Spice Girl.
Favorite
Answer
Spice Girl.
1, Baby Spice. Answer 2, Toddler Spice. Answer 3, Rebecca Romaine Lettuce. Answer 4, Casey Anthony.
Well, Douglas, I'm inclined to answer this with the one that sticks out as most obvious, but I'm going to go against the grain and say Rebecca Romaine Lettuce.
A very good one. All right, question 2. John Boy from the chicken nuggets department finds a delicious puddle in the kitchen. What's your next move? Answer A, grab the mop and bucket, but with a sense of regret about what could have been. Option 2, send everyone home for today and just get real fucking intimate with that floor bowl. Option 3, assume at Nugget John Boy's up to none good and call SEAL Team 6 or the Knights of Columbus or something. Option 4, snorkel to Canada.
One of these is incredibly not like the others. I'm going to go with option 3, Cousin Douglas. Let's get down in there. Or call the SEAL team as well.
You're not gonna fuck that puddle?
No, nope. It could be hot. What if
Could
it
be hot.
melted?
That's
What if it
true.
melted the package away?
Hot grease.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Shush. Question 3, I think. Do you offer vegan options during sex? Option 1, yes. We'll smash in a neighbor's garden in that. Option 2, no. No smashing for 30 minutos after eating your lettuce wraps or whatever the fuck. Option 3, yes. I grabbed 2 fistfuls of yard trimmings from the lawnmower bag on the way inside. Option 4, yes. No. I don't know. Pipe cleaners?
I'm going to go with option number 1, Cousin Douglas. Let's
Smash
get
'em in the
down
garden.
get down the garden, man.
Smashing the garden.
Yep.
Adorable. All right, last question here, I think. Yeah, this should do it. What type of conversation would you recommend for a customer that's just ordered a pierogi special? Option 1, a convo about USA Network dramas because characters are welcome there. Option 2, a convo about them boys down by the rec center is always too fucking loud. Option 3, favorite episodes of the Shall We Football podcast by Razzball. Option 4, a screaming match about how the dog needs to be in a crate during coital engagement.
I'm going to take option 4 there. A close second would be our SWF Razzball episodes, though.
All right. That concludes our interview.
How did I do?
We will be in touch. Douglas out.
Coulter, your NFC SAP, please.
Yeah, I
Did I hear-
was just right down there. I was really close to going to the preseason game. Actually, the stadium is about 3 miles from where I was.
Ryan,
but
did I just hear a sap from you?
You did hear a SAP.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
I love that. With a new bias lens, you could say I'm gonna call Atlanta winning this division, putting them at
Thought
1.
about it.
Yep, New Orleans at 2, Carolina at 3, Tampa Bay Bucks at 4. This is a winnable division. This is very much up for grabs. Arthur Smith, proven successful play caller in the run game, elite offensive line, just so happened to draft one of the best running backs prospects in quite some time since Saquon Barkley. So I think the approach for Atlanta is here: control the clock, run the piss out of the football, and do it well. And you got Drake London year 2. I think big things are in store for Drake London this year. Kyle Pitts, I believe his snap share was only 50%, even in preseason. I think he's going to have – I don't think he's going to impact the game as much as we would like, coming off that knee injury as well, that surgery. And I just don't know if Arthur Smith loves to use him the way that he should be used. All that being said, I think that Atlanta edges out New Orleans for the number 1 spot in this division.
Valid, and I very much considered doing the same thing. AJ, did you do the same thing?
I'll tell you what I did. and it's nothing like you maniacs did. At 11-6, I have the New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
Okay.
At 8-9, I have the Falcons. At 7-10, I have the Panthers, and at 4-13, I have those
Yikes.
mighty Buccaneers.
Yikes. That is rough.
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
start. How many
Well,
games does Baker start?
That 11-6 is buoyed pretty substantially by the fact that these teams are all going to kick the shit out of each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. This is just betting that the Saints end up coming out on top there and getting a lot of easy wins at home.
Yeah. I also have the Saints winning the division. I had Falcons, have a little squiggly through it, and then have Saints, and then Falcons at 2. I have the Bucks at 3 and the Panthers at 4.
Bucks at 3.
I do have the Bucks at 3. I think they have more talent than the Panthers. I really like Derek Carr. I've always liked Derek Carr, and especially with what he's going to have to do in that division, out away from Patrick Mahomes, away from Justin Herbert. He's got the opportunity to be kind of like what he is and be maybe the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the conference, right?
Yeah, he can be an alpha in the NFC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where I just don't think he can't hang with the AFC quarterbacks.
No,
I was just looking over all the teams. I was like, that can't be right.
it's true though.
4th
Yeah.
best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah,
It
I
is
think it's spot on.
It is.
Yeah.
It is beyond reasonable.
Yep.
Getting close to probable.
Because you've got Jalen Hurts, you've got Dak Prescott, maybe Geno, maybe Jared Goff, maybe Derek Carr. Like after Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, the known quantities. There's a lot of maybe this guy, maybe that guy. We just don't know. And
I mean, we have. There is so much of the teams you didn't name. There's only one team with like a journeyman quarterback, and that's the Buccaneers. Everybody else, first-year starters with the Red Hogs, with the Packers, with the Panthers.
basically with the Falcons.
Basically with the Falcons, and basically with, I mean, you've got one. I mean, it's a sophomore campaign, but you've got Justin Fields with so much to prove. And then there's Daniel Jones, who you didn't mention, but just got a massive contract. So
Right.
it's wild what's going on here. And then there's Matty Snapback. There's Matt Stafford there.
There's a health question there.
Yeah.
And then there's whatever the Cardinals decide to trot out under center.
Clayton Tune, baby. Give me Clayton Tune. But I like what the Saints have on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of that is contingent on whether or not Michael Thomas can stay healthy.
I don't believe it. I believe your point, Ryan, but I do not trust Michael Thomas to be.
I don't either. That dude's the most successful grifter in the history of the NFL, getting paid to just nurse a toe injury for 4 years.
Yeah, grifter is right.
When he's right, he's really, really good. And I got to see it, and I have to see it for more than 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row. I have to see it for a season until I can believe that he can stay healthy for a season. I won't believe it until he makes it all the way through.
Yep. See, he fooled us last year a little bit, thinking it was more of like a Sean Payton thing, like it was a coaching staff issue and a locker room thing too. So I kind of was willing to be vulnerable again, and then I got pissed on again.
I'm so ready.
I'm ready to be hurt.
I'm so ready to be hurt, baby.
Colt,
So-
if you move to Atlanta, will you be a Falcons fan?
I think so. Because I have so much dynasty investment as well. I actually bought a Bijan jersey when I was at the Hall of Fame. So.
Oh, you're going to switch your allegiances
Wow.
in conference.
I think
in
so.
division. That's rough.
I
my
will.
man.
That's how deep my dynasty love affair runs.
You better
Wow.
get off all social media except X or Twitter. We need you.
Well,
Please keep doing that.
True. I mean, maybe I can make some new friends. I'll just walk through Midtown with my Bijan jersey on.
Well,
People are
first
like,
I
"Hey,
need to
that
get
guy's
rid of
cool."
all of my old friends, and then I'll make some new ones, and it'll be really good.
No, that's not what I meant. Not what I meant. I did also buy a Justin Herbert jersey, and you know the
Damn,
funny
son.
thing. Well, the funny thing is, Youth XL, way to go.
Well, when you're built like you, then yes.
Yeah, Colt.
A fraction of the
I don't know
price.
what you're doing right now, but it's not making me feel great. Ryan, how are you doing over there?
No, but I'm an XL guy at minimum.
Well,
At
jerseys are huge.
And
That's
Like
true, but
a
I'm
small is
also
massive.
that rain jacket you gave me, Colt. I have to give it to my smallest, frailest friend.
i.e. my wife. To give
No,
this
it's-
rain jacket to my wife.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's. I mean, I
She
tried
is
them
not
on
frail. That woman
in the
is
Hall
not
of Fame
frail.
Pro Shop. Tried them all on. The small was still pretty baggy. You know, I don't. I like things that fit. So yeah, I went kind of crazy.
So I
with
had to
true.
that.
go with-
Jerseys are gigantic.
Yeah.
They are.
So
All right.
to answer your question, yeah, Falcons.
Yeah, no more jersey talk. It's poisoning the air.
I do think the Falcons are going to be very fun. I still don't think their defense is going to be very good, but they did bring in Jesse Bates, and they've got a couple more pieces. They're a couple years away, I think, from really making any noise. But I like the direction they're headed, at least. I'm still not sold on Desmond Ritter, but we'll find out. NFC West, boys. I think this one's pretty cut and dry, isn't it? Colton?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got San Fran 1, Seattle 2, Los Angeles Rams 3, and Arizona Cardinals at 4.
Yeah, AJ.
Yeah, I'll give the records, but it's the same order. 12-5 for the 49ers, 9-8 for the Seahawks, 3-14 for the Rams, and 3-14 for the Cardinals.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is that gonna get the draft pick they want with that record?
Yeah. They're
That's
gonna get real fucking close.
Yeah.
That is rough.
I think
also-
Caleb Williams needs to start buying real estate in Phoenix.
Yeah. That's the same order I've got it in as well. 49ers, are they the most talented roster in the NFC, or is it the Eagles still?
It's probably still the Eagles, but it is a decent question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the talent is dispersed a little bit differently on those teams.
Yes, I'll say that. I'll also this Nick Bosa is the best player on either defense,
Agreed.
and I would say maybe the second best player on either defense might be Fred Warner,
I'll agree with that.
and yet somehow top to bottom the Eagles defense is probably man for man just as talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's completely fair.
Who's the best player in the conference?
That's a good one, my man.
I think it's Micah Parsons.
Well, Nick Bosa is the reigning champ, my man.
Aaron Donald's still in that conference.
I'd say I think this is a very defensive conference.
Justin Jefferson's in that conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be your offensive your offensive entrant.
I'll say Jalen Hurts or Micah Parsons.
Jalen Hurts is bold. I don't know if I'm ready to go there with you.
I'm not sure
I
he's
think,
the best player in the conference. He's very good.
I
he's
think he
very
is
scheme
far and
dependent.
away the best quarterback in the conference at this point.
I agree.
God,
Unless Matthew Stafford's healthy. If Stafford's healthy, he may be the best quarterback in that conference.
True.
Stafford.
But with the roster around him, it doesn't matter.
I don't think Matty is going to be the same guy afterwards. I think, and that still gives him a probability of being a top 10 quarterback in the conference.
Yeah. Also
Maybe a top
true.
5 quarterback in the conference. Truthfully.
True story. True facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do wild card predictions. Can we do we just want to list the order?
Yeah, let's just do
1
the
through
seating
7?
and then talk about it.
Yep, Coulter, give us your 1 through 7, please.
My 1 through 7. So I have Philadelphia at 1, San Francisco at 2, Dallas at 3, Detroit at 4, Seattle at 5, Atlanta at 6, New Orleans at 7.
Okay, AJ.
God, I wish I would have paid more attention to that. I'm sorry, I was cracking my neck. I'll give you mine, and hopefully I'll kind of pick up on Colts through context as we talk. I've got the Eagles at 1, the 49ers at 2, the Saints at 3, the Lions at 4, the Cowboys at 5, the Vikings at 6, and the Seahawks at 7.
Okay.
Okay. I have the
Mhm.
49ers at 1. I have the Eagles at 2. I have the Lions at 3, the Saints at 4, Cowboys 5, Seahawks 6, and the Packers making the playoffs at 7.
Ooh, they were
Mm.
damn close last year, but they did
Damn.
lose one of like the top 3
You
to
know,
5 quarterbacks of all time.
of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if Jordan Love's good and the NFC stinks?
What if he's a top 3 to 5 quarterback of all time? You know?
I think that we can pretty safely say he's not going to be that. But that conference stinks. Like it just isn't very good.
The parody is like it's laughable. Thank
Yeah.
goodness that arguably the 2 most talented rosters top to bottom are both in the NFC, which thank God for that, because if the Eagles hadn't come along with Howie Roseman and his genius, and then the 49ers and their crazy genius and affinity for trading away draft picks like crazy, and the Eagles' capacity for just gobbling up draft picks like crazy, and then using them to draft University of Georgia football players.
Yep.
This conference would be unwatchable.
It would be terrible.
It would be untenable.
Yep.
Like it would be the old days. I don't remember what it was, but I think sometime in the 2000s or 90s, like the Pro Bowl was for a while super. No, it was baseball. It's the AL and the NL. The All-Star game was wildly lopsided for a while
The
in
AL
favor
would
of
just
the AL.
dominate. Yeah.
Yeah, just stupid. It was so unwatchable. And then all of a sudden,
Now
listen,
the Braves are good again.
listen, I went there. I watched the All-Star game at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, and Alfonso Soriano's niece kicked me square in the nads.
How was that?
During the national anthem, when we're supposed to be excited about America and stuff? I think she was like a little anxious, as kids get, and she
Sure.
was just kicking and kicking and kicking, and I should have seen that little nubbin coming my way, and she did kick me in the wiener.
Not a great experience then.
His whole family was like we were behind home plate up a little bit. His whole family was in front of us. Like there was probably like 5 or 6 of them, and then David Wright's family was like
That's
10 or so rows above us or in front of us.
Cool.
And you could tell because they were all wearing the same shirt with
Nice.
on the back.
Nice. That's very cool. Is that all we're going to talk about the NFC? Just that they stink and we done.
It is their most defining characteristic.
It's true.
Except for the 2 wildly talented rosters in the Bay Area and the armpit of them. I meant Philly.
So the 49ers are once again a quarterback injury away from calling Josh Johnson back.
I
Wait,
thought you were going to say
they got Sammy Darnold now, though.
They do
what about
have Sam Darnold.
What about Sir Lancelot?
Sir Lancelot may not be on their roster.
Yeah, I think Shanahan hates Trey Lance.
They may
That's
not. That's
wild.
It's just imagine if they had drafted
insane.
Justin Fields. I think about that sometimes. Had San Fran drafted our beloved Prince McCorkle or Justin Fields, or like, man.
Sometimes I'm stirring up the turlet with a dookie stick, and I think to myself, what if Justin Fields was wearing that burgundy and gold?
That's more of a royal red.
Whatever,
Yeah.
dude.
A crimson.
I still have to use a color wheel in order to match. It's
Can they
it's
trade?
saved as a photo.
You
on
need
my
a
Can they
phone.
trade Trey
Pantone.
Lance though? I don't think he has any resale value in the market.
He
Right
doesn't.
now.
So are you telling me that they are on the verge of just releasing Trey Lance?
I don't think
They
they
can
can
put him
do
on the
that.
practice squad.
Yeah.
That would be something else.
Yep.
Oh my
Put
god.
him on the practice squad, and then somebody else can sign him off the practice squad.
Yeah, I
Jesus
think that
Christmas.
him playing as much as he did this weekend, I think was more of a showcase than it was actively trying to make him QB2.
Yep.
Okay. In order to come closer to the time frame that we need this episode to end at, let's
Move
do
it
one
along.
last one. I'm saying the opposite. We're at 57 minutes 50
Mm.
seconds right now, and once I shorten out all the sort of talky free parts, it's going to get down in like the early 50s of minutes. That I
like the
cannot
early
have.
50s.
Irrelevant. I want to talk about because we've been doing this for every division. Ryan, you and I did this last week.
We did.
Who is the floor ceiling candidate in the West?
It's got to be the Seahawks, right?
I think
I
so.
was thinking about the Rams a little bit, but that is so fucking irrelevant to the thoughts that I have about football generally that it has to be the Seahawks.
Yeah. Because the Rams, like, you can't expect them to even
Their
contend.
ceiling makes them still irrelevant.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, even if they hit their ceiling, they're not a playoff team.
The only thing they could do is make that division more difficult for the Seahawks
True.
and the 49ers. That's the
True.
only thing that I'm thinking of.
But
yeah, you're right. Let's talk about the Seahawks.
So, do we expect regression from Geno Smith? Is the question? And
don't ask that of anyone else but yourself. You are the reigning Geno Smith expert in the crowd.
Correct. If we do expect regression from Geno, what was the record last year? Were they 10-7? Or were they 9-8?
Boy, God, I don't know. Do you want me to walk you through a Google search?
I'm leaned way back. It's just too far to reach. Either way, I think if we can kind of expect a little bit of regression to the mean, Geno led the league in completion percentage last year at like 72%, which is crazy.
9-8 last year, my man.
Okay, 9-8. If we see a little regression, 7-10.
Oh, I couldn't even.
Right?
Yeah,
Couldn't
with
even
the talent,
imagine that.
with the offensive talent and the defensive players,
I don't think they're going to do that. That's the thing, is I don't think they have that in them.
I don't either. They have more offensive weapons, although JSN is having surgery, if I remember correctly.
Wrist surgery
today.
They expect him to be fine, maybe miss week 1, but back by week 2.
Hey,
that said, you're
I can
still
attest to that.
dealing with. Yeah, Colt is a survivor.
Being attacked by a dog.
Yep.
You guys can hear Porter?
Yeah.
Christ alive. You guys couldn't hear me clapping 3 inches from my microphone before, and you can hear my dog barking at, I don't know,
StreamYard doesn't
child.
Yeah, StreamYard doesn't do noise cancellation like Zoom does.
Great. Thanks, Porter. He's a big, beautiful boy. I want you to know that, despite him bringing our discussion to a screeching halt. I want to talk about the addition of Bobby Wagner. I think that is the most important thing that has happened in the Pacific Northwest.
I agree.
As far as football goes, that is going to change this defense. And I think it's going to make literally every player on that defense and probably the team better. He is as beloved in Seattle as like Richard Sherman is, and the other members of the Legion of Boom.
Because we're in Carolina, he is the Luke Kuechly of that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Like Junior Seau was to the Chargers, and he is the face of that organization and has been for a long time. He attitude wise, mentality wise, he's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I have said this before on here, and I'm stalling because PFF is refusing to open. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. How old is Bobby Wagner? I'm sorry I'm doing this.
32 or 33?
Yeah, so Bobby Wagner is 33 years old, and thanks PFF, by the way, for this. I had to Google it. Bobby Wagner's 33 years old and was by PFF. Just one more fuck you. By PFF, the top overall linebacker in the NFL
It's impressive.
per their advanced metrics at 33 years old and still at 6 feet tall.
Look at him. Retaining
Look
height.
at him go. Look at him go. But yeah, he's going to make literally this entire defense better. Jamal Adams, what are we going to see with?
Can he
with
stay
health?
healthy?
Can he stay healthy? I mean, look, if they add continued prime Bobby Wagner and former prime Jamal Adams, like I was firm that this team could be no better than 10-7. But with those guys added to the defense, you may be.
You could see a 12-win team out of that.
Well, you might be getting a team that could challenge a quarterback, a 49ers team with a struggling quarterback. If Brock Purdy regresses, and Jamal Adams and Wagner play to their ability and stay healthy, I mean, we've got a division on our hands. We've got half a division on our hands.
Yes, we do. I really like that Seattle team.
The only thing, as far as I'm concerned, is they're missing a little bit off the edge. The rest, the interior line, I mean, you can get by the cornerbacks, the safeties. The only thing that's really missing are elite pass rushers, but they've got Nwosu from the LA Chargers, I think. I don't know if he was with them last year. Anyway, he's their most talented pass rusher of present, but they've got some young guys. So if they can get there's also Darrell Taylor, who is so excited about the game of football that he is willing to join a special teams play despite not having started on the field when the play began. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do remember that.
Yeah, great stuff from Darrell Taylor.
A football guy's guy.
A football boy's boy.
Yes.
Okay, that's enough for me.
All right. Good job on the NFC, boys.
Colt, it's happening.
Yep, it's your turn.
It's the pronunciation game. These are things my old roommate, Ryan's former tenant, Evan Carmison, star of Stage and Screen and Screen, mostly. You know what? Stage and Screen. No, he was a theater major and did theater in high school. So star of Stage and Screen, most notably Jewish Matchmaking, episode 9 of Jewish Matchmaking on Netflix. You can't miss him. He's a star. These are things he can't say. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars edition roster as of today. That's 8/22/23 as we're recording this. So the first one is a quarterback that we're all very acquainted with. Ryan especially enjoys this gentleman.
This
easy. Don't say that. This former quarterback, former Hawkeye quarterback, and 49ers quarterback. What is his name? This is his real first name, and I would suggest you stray away from Ryan's preferred pronunciation of this gentleman's last name.
Out of the sheer joy of knowing that I can get one of these right, I'm going to stay away from the preferred name choice, and I'm going to go with Casey Beathard.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Ryan, did you even know that?
I didn't know his old CJ Beathard's first name was Casey.
Did you know that Beathard was the preferred pronunciation of Casey and his family?
I wanted to say it.
It is obviously spelled Beathard.
It is spelled that way.
I wanted to say it.
When you're right, you're right. And the Beathards do appreciate you correcting us. The next one, this is an Ivy League linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, formerly of the Falcons, I believe. He went to Yale. What's his name?
I'll give it my best. It's a little confusing in the first name. I'm going to say Foyesad Aluakan.
What do we have here? Foy a day.
Oh, wow.
Aluakan.
That hurt.
Foy
felt
a
bad.
day.
A day.
Foy a day. Foyer a day. He's
Yikes.
often referred to as foyer, which is wild because that is a part of a house sometimes.
It is a part of a home, yes.
But it's also a big ass linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I really bought that one.
Ivy League linebacker, mind you.
You have to be in the Ivy League to pronounce his name correctly.
Or you can just Google it, which I'm learning that you're sort of averse to.
Yeah, it's unpleasant.
So Foy a day. Oluwakan.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I never really realized the a day.
Yeah, it's neat stuff. So the next gentleman is a defensive lineman from the University of Connecticut. What is his name? More of an interior type gentleman.
Florenzo Fatukasi.
Let's see. Florenzo
Oh, damn it.
Fatukasi.
Damn it. Ugh.
I'll be honest with you, Colt. I'm not entirely sure that that's not a typo. Pardon the double negative. So we'll revisit that next week, or we won't. And we're gonna have you pronounce this. Just pronounce this last one. I'm glad you feel good though. Just
I got this one. Don't worry. John Christian Kaimin Manua like a Mecca Fairbairn.
Just want to check with Ryan real quick.
Did you catch all that?
Nailed it. Yeah, I think
Nailed it. Absolutely. Wow. Congratulations to tonight's winner of the McCorkle Award. It's Chef Coulter Snowdy.
Thank you,
and
gentlemen.
his progression through the ranks. Cole was just offered a he's received job offers from fine eating establishments in the Atlanta area. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina, give or take. Colt's in Cary, and Ryan is in Durham, where the Dukes play and the Bulls play.
They do.
But that's not important. What's important is Colt, congratulations on your offers. You're incredible, and we love you. He is one of the hardest working people I've ever met. And when Colt isn't here, it's because he is keeping
an adult.
He's keeping older gentlemen who've invested in restaurants from going bankrupt is basically what he's been doing.
Accurate.
By keeping restaurants afloat. Not by himself, but
mostly
depending on who's listening to this, by himself. You know what I mean? Last week's winner was the Fantasy Football Expo, which Colt loved and had an amazing time at. And now our amazing time has unfortunately come to a close.
It has. Thanks for listening to the Shall We Football podcast. We have had an amazing time. Subscribe to our responsibly sourced program on any platform and Fantasy Football by Razzball, where our humble podcast can now also be found. Also subscribe to the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel for YouTube versions. The video stuff, they're back. Follow them on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Razzball and at Razzball NFL. Colt's writing some fantasy articles for him for the time being. Check those out. Links to our program, football.razzball.com. Lastly, follow us on Twitter, because I refuse, at SWF_podcast, at SWF_podcast. Gentlemen, at the time of recording, we are exactly 10 days away from the start of the Longhorns college football season against JT Daniels, former 5-star quarterback, now the quarterback of the Rice Owls.
Rice. Let's go. My
Texas
God.
is
Texas,
back against
it
Rice.
Must be back.
Shall we football? Flyer than a foosball, going harder than the balls. Inside a pool hall, Agent Colt Ryan on some fantasy business. Living in that dream like they own their own team, man. They tell you how to win, but probably gon' lose if you get last place in the draft, cause you snooze. It's really all luck. If your QB gets hurt, then you're fucked. Yeah, you're fucked. Now you own your buddy's money, plus your girlfriend hates you cause you can't see her on Sundays. Long days, long nights, figuring out your team. Still the next day you're listening to these idiots.